Hey, what's going on, you guys? JPB Productions here, and today I am doing my Fallen Angels Dreamcast. So for this video, I am picking 20 people that were voted out right before the end. Just barely didn't make it to the final tribal council. These are all robbed gods and goddesses, and I am going to pay the respect to them by putting them all in this Fallen Angels cast. Season that I would love to see happen. An entire cast of people that were voted out right before the final tribal council. And there are some great players in this mix. You know, these are people who, most of the people on here could win an alternate universe. There is a Final 2 or Final 3 combination, depending on what they played with, where they could have won. And I'm going to talk about them, and I'm going to say why I put them on my cast, and we can get this on the road here. So the first person to have on the yellow tribe, we got a yellow tribe and a purple tribe. On the first person on the yellow tribe, I have Ashley Underwood. So Ashley Underwood, in an alternate universe, she absolutely wins. You know, Boston Rob is the only person that she couldn't really beat at the Final Four. She could beat Natalie, and she could beat Philip. Ralph and Boston Rob are probably the only two people that don't vote Ashley. Everybody else does, because they didn't respect Natalie and Philip's game at all. You know, that's not to say that Ashley would be a great winner had she won Redemption Island. You know, she probably isn't on Winners at War had she won. But, you know, she almost won. She was robbed because Boston Rob looked at her puzzle. Boston Rob's obviously a better winner than Ashley. It would have been. But yeah, Ashley definitely could have won and honestly should have won. But she still wasn't the person I wanted to see win. So I was trying not to be biased when seeing the Boston Rob won that season. But Ashley Underwood is she's a player. You know, if she returned, I think that she would do very well. So I have her as the first person in the yellow tribe. Second person in the yellow tribe, somebody who was underrated in the sense that she was a lot closer to winning her second season than people give her credit for. And that's Jenna Lewis. So Jenna Lewis, had she stuck with Rupert at the Final Four and put pen to parchment to Boston Rob, Rupert and Boston Rob made fire, and Rupert wins, which is very possible, then if Amber wins the final immunity challenge, because Amber beat Jenna in the final immunity challenge, if Amber beats Jenna and Rupert in the final immunity challenge, and they knock Rupert out the final three, Amber knocks Rupert out the final three, and Amber and Jenna are sitting in, Jenna wins. So if one thing had, you know, shifted a little bit, Jenna would have won that game in All Stars. So she was robbed. She could have won in alternate universe. And I think that it's kind of haunted her. It probably has haunted her that she was this close to winning $1 million. That slip up at the final immunity challenge, definitely. She's probably been thinking about that a lot. So have her as the second person in the yellow tribe. Third person in the yellow tribe, I have Jerry Manthe. Fallen Angel of, as voted, subjectively, the best season of all time, Heroes vs. Villains. That's what a lot of people think. And, you know, Jerry was like Russell's hand was here, Jerry's hand was here, grabbing that Final Four immunity necklace. It was really close, and had Jerry gotten the necklace, she would have won the game. She was very close to winning Heroes vs. Villains. Great player. She's played the game 3 times, and she's a legend. She's one of the big legends out there. And if she did return, it wouldn't surprise me at all. You know, she's creeping up there in age, but I don't even think she's in her 50s yet, honestly. And if she is, she's 50. She's not even 51 yet. So she could be back out there. I could see it. And I think that she would do pretty well in a return. I think that her target level is small. I think she's grown enough as a person where, you know, she could do well. You know, her first 2 times playing, she did okay, but not fantastic. She came back for Heroes vs. Villains, and definitely a wrecked shot, made it all the way to the Final Four, and impressed me, impressed a lot of viewers, and it's mostly her game in Heroes vs. Villains that really impressed me, and I think that she would do well if she came back, so I have her on my cast. Fourth person in the yellow tribe, I have Cass McQuillan from Survivor Cagayan and Survivor Cambodia. So, Cass, she flipped, voted Sarah out in a big move. She's crazy. She's, you know, yelling over nothing in Cambodia. She was never really going to win Survivor Cagayan. You know, Wu had a better chance of winning than her. Wu could have beat Cass. In the stupidest mistake ever made in the history of the game, in my opinion. Wu not taking Cass, but taking Tony instead. That was very bizarre that she would do that, that he would do that. Because she was entertaining. You know, every time she's played, she's very entertaining. And she's not one of the better players in this Fallen Angels cast. But She is iconic, so I put her on the cast. Alright, fifth person I have on the Yellow Tribe is Keith Nale. How do you do a Fallen Angel season without Keith Nale? I mean, that guy will always say yes to Survivor. He was close to winning 2 times in Survivor San Juan del Sur had he won the Final 4 Immunity Challenge, or find a way to snake in and get into the Final 3 with Jacqueline and Missy. He wins easily. Had a few things went differently. Cambodia, he wins that game too. Had Kelly not won the Final 5 immunity, Kelly goes on with the Final 5. Keith Nale wins the Final 4 immunity. Either Jeremy or Spencer probably go home with the Final 4 there. Keith wins. You know, he knows what he's doing. He's almost won twice, and he could absolutely do well if he came back. I think Keith Nale will always do well when he plays Survivor, and I have faith in him if he ever did come back for a season like this. So how is the fifth person in the Yellow Tribe? Sixth person on the Yellow Tribe, Lauren Ashley Beck. So, you know, she I don't think that she really had much of a chance to win Island of the Idols. The only way she could have won is if she went to the end with Dean and Nora. But she can't beat Tommy, sources say. She definitely can't beat Janet, sources say. Sources say she can't beat Elaine. Dan was ejected. The possibility of Lauren taking Dan Spiel out of the final 3 was an impossibility. So Lauren was never winning unless she could figure out a way to get to the end with Dean and Nora. But she was that's kind of sad that's the only way she could have won, because she was very strategic. You know, she was a smart player. I know that production loves her. I know that Jeff Probst really likes her, and I think that a return from her is very likely. So I have her as the 6th person on my Yellow Tribe. 7th person on my Yellow Tribe, Lex Vandenberg. So Lex was the fallen angel of Survivor Africa. He was honestly kind of surprised me with how good he was in confessionals. I really liked him in confessionals. The betrayal that Boston Rob did on Lex was very iconic, and I don't think the production has forgot about that. You know, he was invited back for season 40 before they decided to make it an all-winner season, and I know the production definitely has Lex in their eyesight, in their radar. So Lex coming back is very likely, and I don't know why it wouldn't fit for an all-fallen angel season. So I have him as the 7th person on the Yellow Tribe. 8th person on the Yellow Tribe, Ozzy Lust, I don't know. Or maybe it's just Lust, I don't know. Ozzy. So, Ozzy has competed on Survivor, Cook Islands, Micronesia, South Pacific, and Game Changers. So, you know, he was a fallen angel only once in that mix. It was South Pacific, and that's what makes him ineligible for this cast. He was voted out 7th, came back from Redemption Island for making a big move, vote himself out, to take Christine on, to get back in, to get back with the Savai's, and then draw the Upulis to rocks instead of make all the Savai's be dead people walking. Cochran screwed that plan out, but Ozzy was willing to make a big move that could have shifted the whole game. And, you know, I give him props for that. He got 4th place, but he was voted out 3 times. So I had to knock him a little bit for that. But Ozzy's a legend, you know. His game in Cook Islands goes without notice. He's a great player most of the time. He's played 4 times, and he's never gone home pre-jury. Pretty good. Good. Yep. Pretty good. And you can't knock him too much for that. So I had to put him on my cast. I really felt like he deserved a spot in here. So the 9th person I have on the Yellow Tribe is Rob Cisternino, RHAP. Got this famous podcast. I have no idea if he would be willing to play again. I believe that he would just leave his podcast a little bit, because I think that's, to be honest, what the fans of RHP would want, for him to go back out there. He did an interview with Sangeeta Patel, saying how he wishes that he was out there for season 40, so that's a hint that he would probably return, not only if he had won the Amazon, but also if it was a Fallen Angels cast, or a Legends cast, or a Best Never Win cast. I think Rob C would say yes. And if that is the case, we will see Rob Cisternino back. You know, I think most fans think that he will play again. I know how much Jeff Probst really likes him. I'm actually kind of surprised he hasn't returned yet. There's a lot of themes they could have brought him back for. Heroes vs. Villains, Blood vs. Water, Game Changers. I guess you could include Edge of Extinction. And they just kind of passed him up on all these players that include returning players. These seasons that include returning players. And they completely passed up on him, which kind of surprised me. But, you know, I think that we might see him back. He made my cast, and I think that we could potentially see him in the future. 10th and final person on the Yellow Tribe, I have Yao Man Chan, fallen angel of Survivor Fiji. So, his triumphant, amazing, exciting return in Micronesia that everybody was excited about plummeted to the ground and to the basement when he got voted out third. What a downer. What a bummer. he was extremely close to winning Fiji. You know, he's a smart player, you know, with the whole car dealer, the whole car deal that he made with Dreams. Very smart, you know. And the only thing that he lost from that move was a car. But had Dreams stuck to his word, Yao Man would have won the season, gone to the end with Earl, beat Earl in a really close vote. Cassandra would have gone home with the final four. But Dreams lost anyway, which is why I'm a little bit mad at Dreams that he didn't just keep his word. I guess he felt like he had a chance sitting next to Earl and Cassandra, and I don't know why he felt that way. Dreams did have a bit of a winner's edit at times in Fiji, but I don't feel like his jury management was good enough, so I didn't think he was ever going to win. So Yao Man, he was very close to winning that season. He came back in Micronesia and failed. He got voted out third. Terrible. And he was robbed. I guess I just feel that way because I really like Yao Man. And it was kind of sad to see him go home that early. And then we haven't really seen him since. Besides, he did an AMA recently. That's the only time really that we've seen him avid in the Survivor community. He's gone to Hearts of Reality a few times. Done some stuff there. But he said in the AMA on Reddit that he would play again, but he doesn't think the production will ask him. You know, he's 66 now. He's really creeping up there in age. And I don't know if his return is particularly likely. So I have him on my cast. I tempted to put him on because I didn't know if production would entirely bring him back. I didn't know how likely it was Yao Man would say yes. But based on his AMA, I think he would say yes. I think he'd probably pass medical. And I think that he'd be able to get on with no problem. So I have him as the 10th member of Yellow Tribe. All right, Purple Tribe. First person I have in the Purple Tribe is Cirie Fields. I mean, come on. How do you do a Fallen Angels season without Cirie? She has played 4 times. She did amazing 3 of the 4 times she played. And the one time she didn't make it super far, she was robbed. She got robbed because Terry had an idol and there was a fire making challenge, and Terry ended up wanting Cirie to go home, but Danielle was ultimately the one that turned on Terry. So Cirie was robbed there. In Micronesia, she was robbed because it should have been a final 3, and it wasn't because of James getting medevaced, Kathy quitting, Jonathan also getting medically evacuated. Like, all these things really messed up the days that weren't supposed to align with how many people were supposed to be left at that moment. So they had to switch a little bit of things around, and to make things a little bit easier, they decided to add a challenge at the end that they weren't planning on challenging. Probably got it from the graveyard last minute, and decided to make it a final 2. And Cirie was robbed because of that. You know, Cirie should have won Micronesia, should have been on Game Changers and Winners at War, and it would have been great to see her out there. In Survivor Heroes vs. Villains, she got idled out of the game. Had Tom not had an idol, she would have been fine. In Survivor Game Changers, she gets advantage, get it, only person without an idol. Come on, you know, this woman needs to win. Let's bring her back constantly until she wins. I can't even explain to you how desperate I am for a Cirie win. It's like, if I could get any Survivor player ever to win again or win for the first time, it would be Cirie. So, please come back, Cirie. I have her on my cast. Second person I have in the Purple Tribe, I have Holly Huffman. So this is a dark horse pick a little bit, I know. But she was a pretty good player in Nicaragua. She almost won. You know, had Fabio not won the final 4 immunity, or really any of the final 6, final 5, you know, he was going home pretty much any of those situations. She would win. You know, Holly beats Chase, has sources say. Holly definitely beats Sash. Holly definitely beats Dan, obviously. Holly beats Fabio. Seems like that would be the case. And she can't beat Jane. So once Jane went home, Holly was the biggest jury threat. But no one really speculated it that way. And I thought that she was playing a good game, but then she got robbed when Fabio won the Final 4 immunity challenge. And that kind of threw a wrench in things. It ended up resulting in Fabio being a pretty bad winner, like overall, because he needed immunity wins. But Holly, she was a good player, definitely. If they do this type of season, Fallen Angels, I think we need her back. All right, so next up we have somebody who I don't think production would ever bring back, but I would personally love to see it, and that's Johnny Fairplay. So Johnny Fairplay was the fallen angel of Survivor, Pearl Islands, and he returned from Micronesia and ruined his relationship with production. He tried to get voted out first. He left Ponderosa. Jeff Probst told Johnny Fairplay in front of everybody at the reunion, "You're not coming back." That's basically what he said. He was like, "Okay, we got to see you back, blah, 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 it's over." And he was like, "Wow, Jeff." But I think Johnny Fairplay would say yes. He passes medical, and it's not illegal to bring him on, unlike Richard Hatch, which is a blacklist at this point, because people aren't allowing him on. For the same reason that they're not going to allow Dan Spilo to return. But Johnny Fairplay, he could return absolutely. He passes medical, he wants to come back, and it's legal for him to come back. It's just that production hates him, they don't want to deal with him, so I don't think he's going to come back. But with the dead grandmother lie, I mean, come on, how do you not have him on a season like this? If I was in production, I'd probably fight really hard to have him back on a Best Never Win season or a Fallen Angel season. So I put him on my cast. Next up, I have another dark horse pick, similarly to Holly. I have Kara Kay. This might come as a shock to you guys that I put her on my cast. I mean, it was really either Kara or Jan Gentry. I was kind of like going back and forth between the two. But Jan, I just felt was a little bit too old. She's 70 now. I didn't think that she would pass medical, to be honest. So I decided not to put her in the cast. Kara's a little bit younger. She played recently. I would love to see her return and have a better edit than she did the first time. But she wasn't really ever winning that season, and that's the knock, you know. Nick beats her. Mike beats her according to sources. And it would have been a close vote between Mike and Kara, but I'm sure Mike would have pulled it off. Angelina even beats Kara based on some sources, which is crazy. Davey obviously beats Kara. Allison beats Kara. Christian obviously beats Kara. And, you know, it's she wasn't really that close to winning, but she was a fallen angel in one of the best seasons ever. And I feel like they would probably want the representative fallen angel of Dead vs. Goliath. It's such a great season. So I personally have her as a dark horse pick, but I don't know if production would consider her that way. I think production would consider her to be a lock, which is just ridiculous. Like if they did a season like this and it ended up being more like a Game Changers cast than Heroes vs. Villains cast, I'd be pretty angry. So I have her. Fifth person on the Purple Tribe, I have Kathy Vavrick O'Brien. Barely young enough where I think that she'd be fine. She's 65 years old. She'd be the oldest woman ever to play. And I think if she was a little bit older than that, she wouldn't make my cast. But I think she passes medical. In 5 years, maybe not. Kathy Vavrick O'Brien hasn't been on production's radar for so long. But if they did a season like this, all of a sudden she hops right back into production's radar. If they do a season like this, I think Kathy Vavrick O'Brien would return if she passed medical. No reason why Kathy would say no. It's been a while since she's played, which means that she probably forgets what it was like to be out there. And I think that she would probably return without really much hesitation. She was very close to winning Marquesas, had that final 2 deal not happen. She probably wins. So the final 2 deal with Giuseppe and Nalia, and she could have absolutely won that season had a few things went differently near the end. And I really liked her in All Stars. I've always liked seeing her on my television screen. I would love a Kathy return. A third time's a charm season would be great to see her back. And I think that we might see her back either really soon or never. That's basically how I see it. Because if they wait too long, she's not going to pass medical anymore. She's going to be too old. All right, next up I have, for the 6th person in the Purple Tribe, I have Kelly Wentworth. So Kelly Wentworth, I was never going to forget about Kelly Wentworth. Amazing game in Cambodia. Loved her game in Cambodia. It was great. She idled Savage out of the game in this great fashion. It was an amazing blindside. She definitely had a redeeming arc in Cambodia. In San Juan del Sur, she played with her dad. That was her detriment. She did terrible in San Juan del Sur. She was very forgotten in San Juan del Sur, which is why I was shocked to see her on the ballot of Second Chance, let alone making the season, It just, that baffled me that she made the cast in Second Chance. And then she did amazing and has now cemented herself as a legend, which would have never happened had it not happened then. And Survivor would be very different had Wentworth not been cast in Second Chance. That's what I think. And it makes me scratch my head like, who would have replaced Wentworth on Edge of Extinction? Who would have replaced Wentworth on Cambodia, maybe T-Bird, maybe Carolyn, I don't know. So I decided to put Kelly Wentworth in my cast because she's iconic. I mean, come on. Next, we have probably the person who is the most likely 3-time player to return a 4th time, to be on the show a 4th time, and that's Malcolm. Malcolm Freeberg from Survivor Philippines, Caramoan, and Survivor Game Changers. So my favorite time seeing him out there was actually Caramoan. In Philippines, I thought he was a little bit boring for the most part. We didn't really see much of him. But in Caramoan, God, he played. He took an idol out, played it on himself, gave another one to Eddie before that. They both played it in this amazing move, which I think is underrated. You know, people give the banana etiquette where Parvati stood up and played an idol on Sandra and on Jerry. They give that all the credit in the world, but they never give. They never give Malcolm standing up and playing an idol and Eddie and himself any credit, which is a huge downer. I wish that they did, because it was a great, brilliant strategic move. And he was robbed in Game Changers. So sad to see him go that early. And I think that he deserves to have a 4th chance at it, you know. 4th time's the charm for Malcolm. Let's see if he can finally seal the deal and win this time if he came back for Fallen Angel season. So we'd have to see. I think Malcolm will probably return pretty soon now. All right, 3 more. Next up, I have Rick Devens from Survivor Edge of Extinction. So he shouldn't have made it all the way to the Final 4. And he needed a bunch of idols, so I don't think Rick Devens is the best player in the world. But he's a great entertainer. You know, dun 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 dun. This just in, newsroom. Rick Devens finds an idol. And now Rick Devens is on my Fallen Angels cast. You know, you gotta love the guy. I really do like him a lot. He was very entertaining. My favorite person on Edge of Extinction. I also really liked Reem. Rick and Reem are like my 2 favorite on Edge of Extinction. He is not that great of a player, though. He needed immunities, he needed idols, he needed the Edge of Extinction twist, and even then, with all this help, he wasn't able to win when he should have. You know, he was too loyal to Chris Underwood, and that was the problem. But Rick Devens, you know, considering he was so close to winning the first time, if he can just sink his teeth into a good, solid alliance, actually keep him safe until the merge, and then once you get to the merge, he can just duplicate what he did in Edge of Extinction and win. So I think Rick Devens would probably do okay if on another return. And Rick Devens is pretty much a lock for any returning player season at this point. He returns for anything. Except maybe a Legend season, because he's only played once. Alright, 2 more. Next one I have Tai Trang from Survivor, Ko-Rong and Game Changers. So Tai, he was on Survivor, Ko-Rong and Game Changers. He betrayed Scott and Jason in Ko-Rong, making Scott go home with an idol in his pocket, making Scott feel that comfortable that he didn't even have to play it. He could have relied on Tai to just give him the other half of the idol. What a downer. What a downer on you, Scott. But no, I like Tai more than Scott, always. I even like Tai more than Jason at times. But then it's not really that game. It's his game. It's Game Changers. Tai's game in Game Changers was like, I loved him there. He pulls out an idol, plays it on Sierra with this flashy blindside against Malcolm. Malcolm was robbed, but Tai was a great player. And then Tai, I don't even know how he has so much control with his idols. You know, he's a great confessionalist. And yeah, with the idols, he would just hold on to them. I don't know how he just kept one in his bag, the Michaela vote. Crazy that he was able to say, I don't think it's me. I just have a gut feeling it's not me. And then he just keeps both of them, goes in the final 6 with both idols, securing himself a spot in the final 4, or so we thought. He played one on Tai, one on Aubrey, screwing Suri over at the final 6. So basically, this guy screwed Malcolm, screwed Suri. We're all mad about that. But Tai's a good player. You know, everyone talks about how Malcolm and Suri were robbed. Not talking about how good of a player Tai was. Tai was my favorite player on Survivor Game Changers. You know? And people need to give him a little bit more credit for that. You know, how good of a player he was. He knew exactly what he was doing at all times, and he was just cut near the end. And Tai can win Survivor, and one day it may happen. Alright, so we're 19 down, 1 to go. The next person, the final person we have, is Terry Dietz, last person in the Purple Tribe. So, Terry Dietz has played on Survivor Panama and Survivor Second Chance. Weirdly, the only reason why he really made my cast, and it's actually his game in Second Chance that got him on here, because I was thinking he was robbed because he had this medical emergency and needed to come back, and for that reason I felt like he definitely deserved redemption, and because he also is a fallen angel, he was one of the locks on this cast. So, best for last? No, not best for last, but I decided to put them last because alphabetical order. That's how Sean Kenneth would probably divide it anyway. So Terry is. He needed all 5 immunities that he won in Panama. Which had he won that season, he wouldn't have been the best winner ever. But he did what he had to do. Immunities are part of the game. It's a justifiable way to get to the final 3. He did that, and he loses the last 2 immunity challenges. I'm not even really sure what happened there, where he just started losing. But he had immunity at final 4 because he had that idol. Everyone was scared to vote him, and then at final 3, he screwed it up. He just lost the immunity challenge and lost the game because of it. We ended up seeing an Aris win, which was a bit annoying that he won. So that's my cast. On the Yellow Tribe, I have Ashley Underwood, Jenna Lewis, Jerry, Cass McQuillan, Keith Nail, Lauren Beck, Lex Vandenberg, Ozzy, Rob Cisternino, Yao Man Shannon. On the Purple Tribe, I have Sari Fields, Holly Huffman, Johnny Fairplay, Kara Kay, Kathy Vavrick O'Brien, Kelly Wentworth, Malcolm Freiberg, Rick Devins, Ty Trang, and Terry Dietz. Thank you guys for watching. Smash that subscribe button. I definitely want to come out with some other stuff, with maybe season rankings. I haven't done that yet. But as always, I'm JP Productions. See you guys.